topics. First topic would include the Naxalism 29 miles shot dead yesterday, and it is a topic actually that is related to the internal security under GS3. We would be also discussing, what is the Naxalism and how it is different than the Maoism, etc. Which of the state are still having this particular issue? Second, why India needs a pulse production? Pulse production for India is important not only to diversify its agriculture economy, but also the way the farmers are dependent on the rain intensive crops and even water intensive crops. So how the diversification can happen and it can give a major boost to the economic section. Third one, more about Israel's weapons. The Israel weapons actually that were able to thwart the Iran's attack. So what are the qualities, how these are different? So we will be also dealing with it. Number four is online voting and related electoral reforms. Online voting in the times of UPI and in the times of digital India, as the time for online voting has also come. What are the nitty and gritties of online voting and how it is going to make a difference? All we are going to lead into this one. So the first topic, and it is about Naxalism. You see, three senior cadres of CPI are believed to be among the dead. Three Jawans were injured. The operation by BSF district forces was based on a tip-off that senior Maoists were at the spot. So 29 Maoists were killed in an operation by security forces along the Kanker-Narayanpur border in Chhattisgarh Bastar region. We must tell you that Chhattisgarh Bastar region is a major affected region with Maoism and Naxalism threats. Even in this particular area, Kankar-Narayanpur border, 29 Maoists were killed. Based on the number of casualties inflicted, the state police have said that this is possibly the uh, biggest encounter ever in Chhattisgarh. So this is said to be or touted as the biggest encounter ever in Chhattisgarh. Nationally, in 2018 operation in Maharashtra's another area that was actually having this particular cadre, Gadchiroli, was also in which 37 Maoists were killed. So we will be understanding, how is Maoism and what are the anti-Maoist campaigns. Ever since the state's new BJP government was sworn in, the anti-Maoist campaign in Chhattisgarh has intensified. Since the beginning of this year, 79 Maoists have been killed by the security forces, and this is the highest tally since 2019, when around 80 Maoists were killed in the whole year. So this year, 79 Maoists have been killed. Naxalism is one of the biggest threat and enemy of the development, peace, and bright future of the country. So if we make sure that the areas are Naxal free and we are able to mainstream all those people who are affected by the Naxalism and even those people who take the help of Naxalism, we have to mainstream them. We have to make sure that they become part of our developmental process. And as they are our own people, there cannot be unending threat of violence, either by their own side or by the government and security of, apparatus side. So first, we would be understanding what is Naxalism. So Naxalism originated as a rebellion against lack of development and poverty at the local level in the rural parts of eastern India. The term Naxal derived its name from a village called Naxalbari. And Naxalbari actually was in the state of West Bengal. And it is where the movement originated. The Naxals are considered far left radical communists who support Maoist political ideology. Their origins can be traced to the split that took place in the Communist Party of India, that was CPIM Maoist, in 1967. It led to the formation of Communist Party of India, that was CPI, Marxist and Leninist. Initially, the movement had its cadre in West Bengal. Thereafter, it spread into less developed areas of rural central and eastern India such as Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Odisha, and Andhra Pradesh. And what helped it? The activities of the underground groups like Communist Party of India, Maoist. When we talk about Maoism, Maoism originated in China as a form of communist theory that was derived from the teachings of the Chinese political leader Mao Zedong. So Maoism actually was based on the political teachings of Mao Zedong. Mao Zedong was a Chinese leader. Maoism is widely applied as a political and military guiding ideology of the Communist Party of China till 1977-78. Maoism emphasized the advancement of people's social and economic life by establishing a classless society. Classless society means there will not be any difference between rich and poor. Most of the production actually may either come under the state, or even when there is a classless society, even the state may also evaporate. So it emphasized the advancement of people's social and economic life by establishing a classless society through armed revolution. This was rooted in the anti-imperialist struggle and supported armed revolution. And what was the target? So target was to achieve political transformation. So how it was to be done? Number one, anti-imperialist struggle supported by armed revolution. Target was to achieve political transformation. Naxalism is actually based on the principles of Maoism to achieve a similar level of transformation in our country. So you can say that Maoism actually and Naxalism are both or nearly same in the ideology. Naxalism and left-wing extremism are also used interchangeably. When we talk about in 1967 on 2nd of March, Naxalism or Naxalites as they are generically known in India, who were then members of the Communist Party of India Maoist, led a tribal peasant uprising in the Naxalbari village of Siliguri division in West Bengal. Since then, all those who subscribe to the idea of an armed overthrow of the state have been generically referred to as the Naxalites, the term having its origin in the Naxalbari village. On the other hand, the term Maoist refers to the exclusively to cadres and leaders of the Communist Party of India Maoist. So when we say that all Maoists are Naxalites, but all Naxalites are not Maoist, because the term Maoist left exclusively and leaders of the Communist Party of India Maoist. All Maoists are then Naxalites, but all Naxalites are not Maoist. So these are the differences when we talk about the Naxalism. So Naxalism is, as I told you, Naxalism is a threat for India's internal security. It is also a threat to it is also a threat to our internal economic system also, and kind of the policies that government implements in states where Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, it's a very big impediment for India's resource extraction in those areas. The resource extraction or the mining problem in these areas is also related to such a kind of issue. So when we talk about the causes, further causes, so there was a tribal discontent. In the Forest Act 1980, some talks were there that it deprived tribals. There was a massive displacement of the tribal population in Naxal affected areas also due to developmental project. And that's why they become easy target for Maoist because of the number of problems like land reorganization deficiencies, plus the areas actually were underdeveloped, and because of the underdeveloped the poverty was also prevalent in those areas, and because of the poverty was prevalent, so people took the help of it and actually made them their own cadres, and because of these were poor areas, there wasn't any deficit, or there was a deficit of the development, so reach of the state was also very poor. Even the infrastructure of the forested areas, it was so much dangerous for people to reach, that the internal situation in the forest areas or the local level geography were better known by the cadres, so that also helped them. When we talk about the gaps in the socio-economic system of the country, it also created some sort of follow up for these people. So steps taken by the government also includes Operation Green Hunt. Operation Green Hunt was launched in 2010, and massive deployment of security forces was done in the Naxal affected areas. From somewhere around 223 districts of our country that were affected due to Naxalism in 2010, now the number has come down to 90 in the last 9 years. The government has also started relief and rehabilitation policy also. Even the government's program actually, which is talking about the infrastructural development, the mining areas, and even the security apparatus, in which the Naxalites are also being encouraged to surrender their weapons and become a part of the mainstream development, is also being applied into. So these are the further areas that we are talking about. Even Andhra Pradesh also rose greyhounds. These were the special forces, greyhounds. So these were the special forces that talked about Naxalism or tackling Naxalism in the state. So this is all about Naxalism, what is left extremism, and how it is different than the maoism. Then comes the second thing, pulses need a production boost. Why India need a pulses? Number one, for our agriculture diversification. Because in India, certain areas are where close to 63% of India is actually dependent on irrigation, but 37% of areas are still rain-fed. So when they are rain-fed, the people's lives on the agriculture get affected. Number two, on agriculture, close to 50% of the population actually is dependent, while the contribution of agriculture to the GDP is somewhere around 15 to 16%. Because of the crop, intensification and the soil and the use of fertilizers for the, cereals and other crops, it is also causing actually nutritional deficiency, plus some cancer causing elements are also, coming in the crops. So that is also causing a challenge. The nutritional security that is provided by these regular crops is also on a shorter side. Government has to implement a lot of programs, either through which actually it provides, pulses to Anganwadis, or it provide, pulses or other fortification by iron, etc. So to improve the nutritional status not only among the children but also among the women and who give the birth to the newly born child. So this is how the government wants to tackle the nutritional deficiency also. So India needs a boost for the pulses production that can help diversify its agriculture economy, plus for the nutritional security as well. India has been facing a problem of the persistent shortage in the pulses production, and this has worsened with a significant fall in the output in the year 2023 to around 234 lakh tons from about 260 lakh tons that was in 2022 and 23, while it was close to 273 lakh tons in 2021. So from 273 tons, now we are down somewhere around 243 tons. So that also challenges actually nutritional security through food security program. As a result, the inflation, because the production has been decreasing because of the demand and supply mismatch, the inflation is also being witnessed in the pulses prices. So it has accelerated close to 20% in December 2023 from about 13% in August 2023. Although it has moderated significantly in March by around 17%, but yes, the inflationary pressure on pulses has also made the accessibility and the affordability factor for pulses very, very challenging for the poor people. And when the poor people, do not have this accessibility and affordability for the pulses, then the nutritional security goes for a very, very significant downside. When there is no nutritional security or less nutritional security, what happens that people's health will definitely decrease, and even the IMR and the maternal mortality ratio that we want to reduce actually can be challenging. The major pulses witnessed a drop in cultivation include moong that registered a steep fall of over 40% in acreage and around 60% in output, followed by urad with around 20% fall in acreage and output. The rise in prices of food has been also much steeper at close to 30 to 40%. So it is affecting the poor the most because of the deprivation in the balanced diet. So limited resources or import sources. So unlike oilseed, the scope for augmenting supplies of pulses through imports in the short term is limited. India is the largest producer as well as consumer of pulses in the world. Myanmar actually has been a traditional sources of imports for tur, moong, and urad, while for peas it is Canada and Australia for India. However, some of the African countries, including Tanzania, Mozambique, Malawi, and Kenya, have become sources of imports in the recent years. The prices in these exporting countries also can be influenced by the shortage in India because when in India the demand increases, then the supply actually that comes from these countries also can get affected. Even the prices of pulses in that country also can include. That's why actually for the exporting countries, the prices will become higher. So for importing countries for India, actually it also will become higher, so import and inflation can be experienced. The per capita availability of pulses has declined steadily from about 25 kg in 1961 to 16 kg in 2021 due to sluggish growth in production. there has been a significant shift in cropping pattern also from cereal pulse to cereal cereal, particularly in the irrigated areas, as I told you. The extent of area irrigated for sugarcane, wheat, and rice stands at around 96%, while that of the pulses it is only about 23%. So pulses is also important for income security of those people which or all those areas which are either in the dark zone where the water tables have gone down, or in the areas where the rainfall is very lesser and the irrigation potential is also lesser. For in the rain-fed areas, because of the pulses are only 23% irrigated, that also creates a major advantage if the pulses production actually gets a boost. So that's why, as a result, the yields and output of the pulses have remained low, and that's why the production level has decreased. There is an urgent need to expand pulses production through development and cultivation of high-yielding varieties and technologies. It is also essential to enhance post-harvest management and direct market linkages to ensure remunerative prices for farmers. Even immediate steps must be taken to promote pulses cultivation in fertile and irrigated areas that provide input incentives and assured remunerative prices. Cultivation of pulses can promote sustainable agriculture by enriching soil fertility and conserving water with minimal irrigation and short crop duration also. So these are all the things actually which can make India a pulse independent nation, a pulse actually and where the economy is also diversified, agriculture economy is further diversified. Then comes Israel weapons that thwarted Iran's attack. So when we talk about Iran, that was sorry, Israel's Israel that actually faced the Iran's attack, and Israel which faces the Gaza attack on a daily basis, there are certain elements which are giving it a protection. So Iran intercepted 99% of missiles and drones that Iran launched on Saturday night. Israel military actually talks about it. None of the 170 drones and 30 cruise missiles entered Israeli territory, though a few of the 110 ballistic missiles that Iran fired did enter. Israel is at least close to 1,000 kilometers away from Iran, with Iraq, Syria, and Jordan in between. So, what is Iron Dome? Iron Dome is for short-range rockets and shells like the ones fired by Gaza. It is developed by Rafale Advanced Defense Systems, world's most successful missile defense system with 90% of the success rate. So if you are asked actually about Iron Dome technology, you can mention this. And it has been part of the Israeli forces since 2011. It has radar unit that it detects airborne threats, rockets or shells, and it then transmits data to the control unit. In the second, it does process actually the data, accesses the threat, and charts the interception path. Then after, it sends missiles with radar, a special warhead to hit the incoming rocket, and that is called the firing unit. So it has three units: radar unit, control unit, and firing unit. So radar that detects the airborne threats, control that processes data and accesses the threats and charts the interception path, while the firing unit actually sends missile with radar special to the warhead. The second one is David Sling. So it is an intermediate layer of the air defense system for ballistic and cruise missiles and long-range rockets. It is developed by Rafale Advanced Defense System along with American defense contractor Raytheon. The carrier has up to 12 Stunner interceptors according to the firm. Then comes another one that is called Spider. So Spider is a family of multi-range mobile air defense system to defend large areas against aerial attacks by fighter and bomber aircraft, helicopters, and cruise missiles. Even unmanned vehicles also can be targeted by this. It's an all-weather system and it can be activated within seconds of a target being declared hostile. There is another one and that is called Arrow. Arrow is a mobile system consisting of hypersonic anti-missile interceptors. It's ground-based Green Pine missile defense radar, early warning radar, and command and launch control centers. Arrow 3 is the most modern, longest range interceptor, ranges around 1400 miles plus, altitude around 62 miles, meant for targets in the upper atmosphere. So this arrow actually can deal with all those targets which are in the upper atmosphere and trying to enter the earth. so it can actually definitely hit them there and there itself. Then comes the next in line, online voting, an idea that holds promise. What is the online voting? First of all, we have to understand that India is basically a country which has a lot of online or digital potential. When we talk about in the form of uh, uh, an electronic voting machine, in 1982, India witnessed the deployment of online voting machines. Digital India has like arrived in 1982 with the deployment of electronic voting machines. And in the last 2 decades, extensive automation and digitization has been implemented in several customer and consumer facing services like banking, e-commerce, tax returns, stock trading, mutual fund, and many more. Even the e-Mitra Kendras, those have been opened actually has facilitated a lot of digital services penetration into the deep rural areas and remote areas. So India has made a definite progress when we talk about customer and consumer facing services. UPI that powers interbank transactions has also been one of the major success story. When we talk about the DBT system, direct benefit transfer is also one of the major success story. So can we do so? So how can the online process in the election make or meet the requirements under election rules? When we talk about the nominations, candidates presently file nominations and related documents physically before election commission. This should be changed over to online filing with applicable identity and validation checks. We can consider the success of e-filing platforms under e-tax, income tax, corporate laws, and GST, and make sure that this can be a game changer. When we talk about polling booths, the existing field infrastructure of polling booths, electronic voting machines, duty personnel, security, and logistics will no longer be required once the voting process actually becomes online. So the role of presiding officers and other election commission officials on poll duty may also have to be redefined to align to virtual monitoring and supervision. Limited count of election booths can be needed due to slower adoption of new systems. When we talk about the voter ID, new voter registration process should continue as a present wherein Aadhaar is submitted as a proof of ID. In the voting also, on the polling day, every voter should receive his or her registered mobile uh, on matlab SMS, a web link to voting site. A voter on clicking the link should receive one OTP that will provide access to the voting page. After selecting the candidate and submit action, a second OTP can also help to confirm save and cast vote. So these now then comes actually the secrecy of vote. Secrecy of vote clause is fundamental to the election process. So restricted access to system data and segregation of database of voters from online voting records should be put in place. The biggest risk is with respect to Aadhaar holders who may not be alive and not updated with the voter rolls. Another factor actually that can create a sort of trouble is the privacy or data privacy. Sometimes the hacking of the servers also can become a challenge. Even the challenge in the online voting is the amount of infrastructure that is available in the remote areas. But when the breaches about the UPI and other consumer or customer facing devices can be removed, why India cannot deal with the online voting? Now maybe the ideas have come. Some nitty-gritties actually can always be improved, but India should give a try. That will make even the election process more inclusive because close to 20 to 25% of people never vote. So their voting also can become or make democracy more inclusive.
For more such videos, you can like the button and subscribe the channel. Thank you.